Is your dog's food created to maximize your dog's quality of life or to extend the food's shelf life? It's time to make the switch to Sundays. Sundays was founded by a veterinarian and mom, Dr. Tori Waxman, who got tired of seeing so-called premium dog food full of fillers and synthetics. So she designed Sundays, air-dried real food made in a human-grade kitchen using the same ingredients and care you'd use to cook for yourself and your family. Every bite of Sundays is clean and made from real meat, fruits, and veggies, with no kibble. That means no weird ingredients you can't pronounce and no fillers. Because your dog deserves food made with care, not in the interest of cost-cutting. You just scoop and serve. No freezer, no thawing or prep, no mess. Just nutrient-rich, clean food that fuels their happiest, healthiest days. So you get more of them to share together. Go right now to sundaysfordogs.com/now30 and get 30% off your first 3 orders. Or you can use code NOW30 at checkout. That's 30% off your first order at sundaysfordogs.com/now30. Or use code NOW30 at checkout.
Hi friends, welcome to Raising Lifelong Learners. I'm your host, Colleen Kessler, and this is the podcast where I encourage you to trust yourself and your differently wired kiddos as you help cultivate their curiosity, encourage them to discover the world around them, embrace who they are wired to be, all while helping them discover their passions, interests, and raise them to become the amazing adults they're meant to be. Hey, welcome back. This is episode 304. Today we are talking all about demand avoidance in our home and what we can do when our kiddos just can't do anything that we ask, even if it's something that they really love to do. So we're going to talk about how to lower the demand without eradicating skill building as well, and what we can do to set up our kids for success, along with lots and lots of practical tips and examples for what to do. This is a full episode with a lot of different suggestions and ideas in it, and I recognize that sometimes you're listening when you're doing other things like I do when I listen to podcasts and audiobooks. And so over on the show notes page for this episode, there will be tons of links for you, along with an article that kind of puts all of this into a digestible written form that you could easily print out if you want to. So check out the show notes for this episode at raisinglifelonglearners.com/podcast. And before we begin, I want to thank again, as usual, CTC Math for all of the support that they give us, along with our brand new Snail Mail Club, Curiosity Post, and the Learners Lab, an online live community for families who are homeschooling neurodivergent kids. All of these resources are designed to support you and help you find success in the goal of homeschooling a differently wired, quirky, outside-the-box thinker, a kiddo who's gifted, twice exceptional, or otherwise neurodivergent, struggles with anxiety, ADHD, any other kinds of challenges, be successful and become the best versions of themselves. So check all those out over on the website at raisinglifelonglearners.com. If you end up subscribing to CTC Math, let them know I sent you, and let's get on with today's episode. Hey there, if traditional lessons at home feel like you're walking into a force field, the harder you push, the more resistance you get, you're not failing. In fact, oftentimes your kiddo's nervous system is protecting their autonomy. It's helping them try to exert some control over a world that often feels like they don't have any control. Today we're going to build kind of a list of strategies of low demand but high interest ways to help your kids learn real skills at home without the battles. Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 3 in a series all about demand, struggles, meltdowns, avoidance, behaviors, all of those kinds of things, and what we can do practically to help our kids in the moment. Today we're going to talk about that lack of motivation, the resistance at home, and a little bit about PDA at home. And basically what PDA is, it's a demand avoidance challenge that some of our kids have or are diagnosed with, where any kind of demand on them is perceived as a threat according to their nervous system. So if you listen to last week's episode all about shutdowns versus meltdowns, it can exhibit itself in a couple different ways, including completely shutting down and not doing anything, or melting down and becoming physical or aggressive or fleeing. And so we want to make sure that with those kiddos, if we are able, we're meeting their demands at home in a way We're giving them a low demand atmosphere in a way that allows them to still be successful in learning something every single day and becoming the best versions of themselves. I will say, before we even get started, if at any point you're working with your kiddo and you're trying all different things, you're listening to the podcasts, you're reading the books, you're watching the TikTok videos or the Instagram reels, and you're just not making progress, there is nothing wrong with, in fact, it's a very brave thing to do, to seek professional help. Some of our kids need more than we can give them. And so finding a therapist that specializes in the things that your kiddos need can be such an important and brave act. So I want to encourage you, definitely do your research. Definitely listen to podcasts like this. Definitely watch reels and videos and read books and watch YouTube videos put out by professionals in the industry. But if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel ill-equipped, there's nothing wrong with getting the help that you need when you need it. It's not failure, it's success to admit you need help and to get it. Nothing is wrong with trying to get your kids the best support that they need. So I do want to encourage you, if at any point you feel like you need more support, get it. And if you need someone to encourage you, just shoot me a message. Join us in the Learners Lab. There's lots of families in there that can encourage you as well. And we will be there for you. All right. So when this episode is finished, you should have at least a loose framework and some language you can use, along with some different skills and a plan to start trying this week, working through some of the lower demand methods we want to implement for our kids. This is for kids who avoid demands, even for things that they enjoy. They say no to everything, they bargain endlessly, or they shut down when anything feels required. And I want you to feel encouraged at the end of this. And so if you don't or you have more questions, you can always reach out to me through the contact form on my site, or just email me at support@raisinglifelonglearners.com. So let's talk first about what is PDA or what is avoidance. This is a nervous system pattern where perceived demands equal threat. The more something feels required, timed, or evaluated, the more the alarm rises in our kids' nervous system. Even if our kiddos care about the outcome, they can still feel the threat and the weight of the demand. When we're working to lower demands and help our kids be successful, we want to remember that we're not removing growth. We're changing how we invite that growth. We're keeping autonomy and decision-making high in our kids' world, and the demands low and interest central. We're still teaching skills, but we're finding ways to do it that lower the demand, increase the interest, and keep our kids' nervous systems feeling safe. Some of the things that we can kind of like use as mantras for ourselves to help us remember this is autonomy first, and then the skills ride along with autonomy. Or short, shared, silly, optional work much better than long, solo, serious, and required. Okay, let me say that one again. Short, shared, silly, and optional work way better than long, solo, serious, and required. All right, let's start building a framework for avoidance behaviors at home. Let's start with a simple ABC kind of list going. So keep the ABCs in your mind and think about A, being autonomy is visible. So you want to kind of run through this for the tasks that you need to ask your kids to do. Autonomy is visible. So A, autonomy is visible. They can see that there's choices. They can see that there are opt-outs, and they have a hand in co-creating the request or the requirement. B, boundaries are kind and clear. So they feel safe, they feel respected, they sleep, they're rested. So there's boundaries that are very clear. They have clear screen time boundaries. They have clear sleep boundaries. They have clear safety boundaries. They have clear respect boundaries so that they know how to behave and we know how to behave. They also, and then you can go into C, co-regulation. Co-regulation is continuous. You use a calm tone, a slow body. You have a breathable plan, meaning it can ebb and flow. You might have to adjust it from time to time depending on the situation. So for every activity, they can see the autonomy, boundaries, and co-regulation. So there's autonomy, there are boundaries within it, and then there's co-regulation that's continuous with all of us speaking in a calm tone, slow body, and breathing. When our kids are struggling, we want to use the REI method. So do this in this order. First, you want to reduce the demand. So use declarative language, choices, use humor, don't put timers in their face. You want to reduce the demand signal. So give them some choices in there, things like that, which goes along with inviting them through interest. So maybe add in when you can their hyper-focus, not our agenda. Maybe you're teaching math through Minecraft or geography through building something in Minecraft. And I'm saying Minecraft because my 13-year-old is currently obsessed. And then we have E, we're embedding the skill invisibly. We carry, as parents, the teacher load in our setup, and they feel less of a demand. So in the example that I just gave, Minecraft, I know families who have done a significant amount of their homeschooling using Minecraft as a tool. The skills are embedded, but Minecraft is the vehicle for it. So perhaps they're learning about, castles and medieval times and what different castles need in order to be able to protect themselves against enemy invaders or crusaders or whatever. And so you can be talking about that and teaching them about that and have them be building what you're describing in their Minecraft world. Or perhaps they are illustrators or they love to paint. We can have them do that in that way. I remember back in a co-op that we were a part of, I was teaching a class about habitats and we were studying microhabitats. In fact, interestingly, as I'm discussing this, I will be teaching this same class in our new co-op in the spring. But we were learning about microhabitats, specifically a rotting log habitat, because there's so many things that happen in that specific microhabitat. And I had a kit that I've purchased from Carolina Biological. If you look up Carolina Biological and look on their website and search rotting log or life in a rotting log, you'll find it. My kids and I have done this numerous times at numerous co-ops and just by ourselves because it's just so fascinating. But one of my kids is an accomplished actress. She's very talented in that way, and she does not like creepy crawlies at all. But she was of the age that this class was offered, and all her friends were taking the class, so she wanted to take the class too. But she did not want to touch any of the insects, any of the bugs, any of the beetles, any of the millipedes. And so she proposed with a couple of her friends who had a creepy crawly aversion that they write and produce a script, a short play about life in a rotting log. And I said, sure, I want you to be here to listen as we're talking about whatever it is we're talking about that day. So you're learning the material. And then when we go on to the hands-on part and we're working with the bugs and we're working with the soil and the pill bugs and, mealworms and millipedes and whatever, you can go over in the corner and you can stay away from the actual handling of the creatures and you can work on your script. It was great. They got the entire class involved by the end of the semester, and they created costumes and they presented the play at our end of the year celebration. So the demand was dropped that they do this one part of it with the expectation that they have the autonomy to come up with another way to demonstrate their learning, and they still are physically present so that they could learn the material. So we want to reduce, invite, and embed. And then we also want to use language swaps. So if you need to, you can put these on a sticky note or some note cards so you have them and you can remember them. But instead of you need to do XYZ, you could try, it could be helpful to XYZ, or I'm going to XYZ. Do you want to jump in and try it with me? Instead of finish this, you could try, let's do a postcard version. Just finish one line of this. So a bite-sized piece of this activity. Or instead of questions that corner them, why won't you ever? Or what made you think to do this? Or whatever. Try curiosity. What's the sticky part of this for you? Is it too long? Is it too boring? Is it too unclear? Is it too loud? What's going on that I can help you through? So talking about those different things and helping them get to the bottom of it lowers the demand and helps them be a part of the co-regulation and the co-creation of whatever it is you're trying to do. Okay, we're going to do some practical stuff right now. So this is a little bit different than some of the other podcast episodes that I've done. I'm going to give you kind of like some skill by skill stealth recipes for learning, and you can adapt this in any way you need. So the template for this is and this will be written out in the show notes for this episode, so you can go check that out. But you want to pick the hook, like maybe their thing. So their hook could be Pokemon, Minecraft, animals, slime, theater tech, baking, trains, coding, insects, whatever. I once taught a whole science class called Slime Science, and we did lots and lots of different slimes throughout the semester at co-op, but they learned about magnetism because we did magnetic slime. They learned about exothermic reactions because we made exothermic slime using a powder. Also, glow in the dark, we talked about bioluminescence and things like that, and they made glow in the dark slime. Super cool. So pick the hook that is relatable to them and something that they would like. Choose one target skill, not 5, not 6, not 2, 1. Maybe it's reading fluency. Maybe it's writing a complete thought, fractions, note taking, planning 3 steps out, flexible thinking, the tolerance of uncertainty. Pick one thing and then hide the skill inside the hook by changing the format, not the topic. And then make it postcard sized. So like 6 to 12 minutes. So small in size and with a clear done statement. You're done after you do X, Y, Z. Here are some examples. I'm going to give you 5 examples with different subjects. Okay. So reading. We're going to use Minecraft and note taking. So the target skill is fluency vocabulary. So being fluent in using the new vocabulary or reading the vocabulary. The setup is you're going to read a short patch of a story aloud once. Then your kiddo's going to read one sentence and you trade lines. So you go back and forth, trading lines. So you're modeling how to read fluently and pick out the new vocabulary, and then they're doing it back to you. So your done statement could be, we each read 3 lines and we each pick one new word in the vocabulary to act out. It works because it's a shared load. You're both doing it. It's novel. You're reading back and forth, 1 line at a time, and you're each acting out a word from that sentence, and there's no worksheet involved. Okay? So that's an example of kind of a stealthy learning within that template of picking the hook, choosing a target skill, hiding the skill inside the hook, and making it small, using Minecraft as the hook. Okay, writing. A Pokemon postcard. Okay, the target skill is sentence formation with detail. So the setup is giving them a 4x6 card, and on the card, we want them to title it, whatever the Pokemon's name is, 3 bullets or powers, and then a doodle. The done statement is that they have a title of their card with the Pokemon's name, 3 bullet points about them. So 3 sentences with a detail, and then their doodle about it. Okay, so in here, now they've formed 3 sentences. They've created a title, formed 3 sentences about that title, and the title was their Pokemon. And then the extra detail is that they have a doodle. Okay, math. We're going to kind of upgrade their math skills. We're going to use fractions and doubling the fractions through baking. Okay, so the target skill is the fractions and doubling. The setup is to pick a muffin recipe. And then ask them to double the recipe. Okay, so let's talk about math. Specifically, let's talk about finding a program that actually works for your unique homeschoolers. In our house, we've been using CTC Math for years. And even though I am so appreciative that they sponsor this podcast, I am a paying customer. I'm still a paying customer even with their sponsorship because it's just that good, and I love supporting great companies with great programs. With 2 kids still at home, both with very different learning needs, CTC Math has been the flexible and dependable solution that I keep coming back to. One of my kiddos needs more time to process math concepts, and I love that she can move through the lessons at her own pace without feeling rushed or behind. My other kiddo, he flies. He jumps straight to the end of unit tests to see what he already knows, and then we only focus on the lessons that fill the gaps. That kind of customization is gold when you're homeschooling gifted or twice exceptional kids. CTC Math gives you the access to every grade level, from kindergarten through 12th grade with your subscription, so that your child can accelerate, review, or jump around based on their own needs, not based on some rigid curriculum structure. And because it's video-based with clear instruction and auto-graded lessons and quizzes, it frees me up to support my kids without being chained to a textbook, teacher's manual, or whiteboard. So whether your child needs more time or is racing ahead, you can tailor it all with CTC Math. Check it out at ctcmath.com. You will see why so many homeschool families trust it. And if you've got quirky math learners like I do, I think you're going to love it. If you have any questions about CTC, like I said, we've been using it for years in our homeschool, and I encourage you to reach out and ask me any questions that you have. If you do pop over there, let them know that I sent you, and let them know that you appreciate their ongoing support of homeschoolers everywhere, especially those of you here at Raising Lifelong Learners. All right, let's get back to today's episode. So you want them to be done when they've doubled the flour, sugar, and milk, or whatever ingredients you want them to double. You can write, they've written the new amounts on a sticky note so they don't forget, and then you give them a high five. So this works because it's completely embedded in the recipe creation. It's easy to implement because you want to make enough to save for tomorrow's breakfast. It's tasty, it's short, and it's directly related to something that they're going to enjoy doing. Executive function, maybe it's a tech theater or a theater tech pack list. The target skill is planning 3 steps out. This is especially important for kids who struggle with the executive function of working memory. So the setup for it is to build a backstage go bag for when they're working tech. And we want them to choose their done statement. They will be done with this task when they've chosen 5 items, laid them out, and put them one by one inside their kit. And then this can turn into an active, usable co-op or tech theater go bag that they can use. You could also use it for museum classes or play dates or whatever. Okay, and then finally, science. Say your kids are really into animals or bugs specifically, and we want to work on observation and note-taking skills. So make a shoebox habitat and do 4 quick observations in a sketch. So the done statement is they've written 4 lines of observation and drawn a sketch of what they're noticing inside their habitat. So for the Life in a Rotting Log class that I'll be teaching again, I could have them pull out their notebook, look at the habitat, write 4 things they notice, and draw a sketch, and then they would be done. So it's lower demand. They don't have to write a whole lab report, but it's applicable and it's interesting to them. One of the rules I want you to try to implement for yourself, kind of in the back of your mind, especially for our kids who are demand avoidant, we want to end while it's still fun. Then next time, change 1 variable, the time, the format, the audience, not all 3. So, if you're going to do a recipe again, then do it straight as, or triple it, or half it. Just change 1 variable each time. Some scripts you can use that'll help lower the demand. An invitation script. I'm going to read these 3 lines. Do you want to read one of them aloud? Or I'm going to do a read aloud. Do you want to alternate paragraphs, or do you want me to read a page and then you read a page? The scope. Make it small. So instead, maybe we'll write a postcard about the thing that we learned about, not a whole paper, just a tiny finish line. You can also help them opt out with dignity. A pass is always allowed. You can tell them, if you pass, I'll do the whole thing and you can do the quality control check. Or let's try to do 5 problems and I can help talk you through that, or I can write for you. You help me solve them. So I know you know how to do this material, but I will do the writing. You can diffuse with humor. I brought the wrong pencil of doom. Shall we tame it together? My pencil is making so many mistakes. Can you help me control my writing? Oh my goodness, I can't believe I dropped that egg. Oh, that's crazy. I'm such an expert in cooking. Can you give me another egg while I clean this up? Whatever it is, use humor to diffuse the situation. And then repair later. That was a bigger ask than I realized. I'm so sorry. Next time we'll cut it in half. I'll remember this next time we need to do something like this. Okay, if we are in the middle of a period of time where demand is tough, we want to build kind of a 4-step rhythm to our day so that all of us know what to expect and the demands are lessened. So you can write these out on note cards, you can write them on a whiteboard, or you can just keep them in your own head and talk them through with your kids, whichever works for your family. But the 4 steps we want to focus on are the warm-up, the connection, a tiny focus, and play or a project. So, for example, warm-up. 2 to 5 minutes, you want them to do that heavy work we keep talking about in all these episodes. Wall pushes, chair pushbacks, drink water through a straw or yogurt through a straw, sing a favorite song, dance to a favorite song, whatever. Warm up for the day. 2 to 3 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes. Then you want some kind of brief connection time. 5 to 10 minutes. Read aloud that they chose, maybe a shared doodle, a quick game, and then spend about 6 to 12 to 15 minutes on a tiny focus. 1 skill by stealth, 1 short ask, 1 half page of math problems, and then end early. And then you want to either play or have a project. So this is a little bit longer, and this is interest-driven time. So maybe they're building a Lego model or a theater prop or a bug hotel, or they're in Roblox doing a build or in Minecraft doing a build. Put done statements on the cards or in your head so they feel finishable, and then give them knowledge of what some of those finished statements are. If you're struggling to figure out how to teach the real subject level skills with your kiddos who are avoidant, let's talk about some specifics in different areas. So like, for example, reading, that fluency and comprehension. Instead of having them read everything and then respond to your comprehension questions, do that trade line reading or shared reading where they're reading a line and you're reading a line, and they're reading a line and you're reading a line. And after each paragraph or page or chapter or whatever your kids can handle, you're discussing what's going on and guiding them through a conversation about it. They can read strategy guides too. They don't have to just read books if we're working in comprehension skills. So you can go in like a reading workbook and read and talk about how to do the different things. They can also do this through comics or captions or graphic novels and things like that. So we want them to understand that reading is just all over the place. It's not only what they're assigned, and give them some autonomy choosing. Even some of your older kids revisiting nostalgic like picture books. Picture book language is very sophisticated, so this could be really a benefit or a fun thing to do too. You could also do a picture walk, especially with the picture books, and do some predicting. In picture books and graphic novels, like go through the pictures and then predict what's happening and then go back and read. When you're writing, we want to encourage the output of writing without the panic. So we could start with just captioning. Give them a photo, have them do a title with 3 details, like bullet points about it, and a doodle. Or voice to text first, and then the child edits 3 words. So have them text or talk to text what they would be writing, and then go back and edit that until they can build up to more writing with their hands. Math concepts, teaching them without worksheets. You could do Lego arrays, building a 2x3 or a 3x4, snap a picture, label it with the math facts that go along with it. You could create a snack shop and give them play money to budget with 2 constraints. Maybe they can't spend more than what they have. They have to have 1 in each of 2 separate categories. And then you can help them add the mental math aloud if they're struggling, or you could be working on mental math with that. With executive function, some specific ways you can teach skills are those 3-step quests. Gather eggs, crack 6 of them, whisk them together, and then I'll finish the recipe. Or switch up games, change a rule in Uno. Talk about what changed. How did we adapt? This is really good for kids who struggle with flexible thinking. And then social and emotional challenges, the tolerance of uncertainty. Some of our kids can deal really, really well with not knowing the answer to something. Some not so much. And so this will help them grow in that. We can do a mystery minute. We pull a card on a mystery topic. You can write these out ahead of time, and then you explore it for 5 minutes, but then you stop when they're still curious about the topic. Okay, I've thrown a lot of ideas at you, and like I said, these will be in the show notes, so you'll be able to revisit this on the website at raisinglifelonglearners.com/podcast to get these ideas kind of all written out. But let's talk about a 7-day plan so you can leave this episode and start working on that demand avoidance right away. So the first thing you're going to do is build that 4-card rhythm. Pick 1 hook and do like a tiny focus using that 4-step method. Then on day 2, repeat with the same hook, and you do a little bit more. So you're going to do some scribing, or you're going to do some reading first. And then on day 3, change the format only. So maybe instead of the postcard that you're writing, do an audio note, have them dictate it, or have them write a mini poster. On day 4, add a micro transfer. So maybe they read one line to a relative on FaceTime, or they post a photo with a caption to the family group chat. And so they're branching out from just you, and they're stretching the task a little bit further. On day 5, keep it the same, stop even earlier, and celebrate the start. So you're giving them a different little win every single day. On day 6, swap the hook out. Maybe instead of the baking that you were doing, switch to Minecraft, but target the same skill. Go through those steps again, and then finally reflect with your kiddos at the end of that week. What felt easy? What felt a little sticky and was challenging? Let's do one tweak next week and see if we can improve. The success metrics you're looking for are not perfection, not pages and pages of work. You're looking for the struggle to get started shrinks. The recovery from a no gets quicker. There's voluntary re-engagement. Your kiddos come to you and say, hey, can I show you something? They want to re-engage with you. And then the tiny transfers show up. They start using done statements on their own. They start asking to share with a sibling or a grandparent or someone else. So you go through this slowly and you keep adding to it as you go, and then you revisit if you need to. Some things we might struggle with, or some trouble that might come up that we might need to troubleshoot. Maybe your kiddo says no to everything. They're fighting you not just on math and reading and baking and chores, but playing Pokemon or Minecraft or a board game or watching a show. Remove the question marks. Go straight to declarative sentences or parallel play. Hey, I'm making a postcard about Pokemon. Did you want to make one too? Sit with me if you want to. You're just doing it. I did this years ago. I was really strewing a lot of things for the kids to kind of expose them to a lot of different things. And one of the things that I had planned to strew was a weaving loom that I had purchased. And so I set out the weaving loom with a bunch of yarn, different kinds of yarn, different like strings and ribbons and different things like that to get a mixture of textures. And it just sat there. Nobody bit. And I was so sure someone would, because my kids can be crafty. I ended up putting it away for a while, and a couple months later I pulled it out. Still nobody really bit. So I sat down and I started weaving. And then I started changing out the textures of the different materials I was using. And then I started leaving some of my weaving like partially done. And I'd come back and someone had sat down and kept it going. And it ended up becoming this family weaving project that we kept doing, and different people would jump in. So remove the demand, remove the expectation, and just invite them in. Maybe there's a meltdown right at the start. Okay, just skip the task. Go back to warm up and connection only and try again the next day with only half the task. It's worth helping to scaffold your kids from thing to thing to thing. So if we're getting a meltdown, we want to avoid the meltdown. We want to go back to what we talked about last week, and we want to connect, regroup, replan, reflect, and then try again with half the task the next time. Maybe your kids are like a couple of mine and you're going down a perfectionism spiral. Lean into the messy first draft if you can, and then have them try to fix 3 things. Maybe you even take over and you help make it messier. And then you say, we want it to be messy because we want to learn and grow from it. So we're going to finish this messy draft, and then we're going to go back in together. We're going to find 3 things we can make better. And then tomorrow we're going to make 3 more things better. And you keep going like that. Maybe siblings are derailing each other. Try to stagger a tiny focus for each of your kids so that they are doing different things in different parts of the house and not distracting each other or not demanding your time when another one needs it at that moment. This is a challenging thing. Nobody who is dealing with any kind of demand avoidance in their home is going to have it all miraculously fixed after listening to one podcast episode. And I'm under no illusion that what I am offering you right now is going to solve all your problems. And I hope you're not either. This is a hard thing, especially when we have neurodivergent kids at home. So I want you to first take a breath. Then remind yourself you are doing amazing at this parenting. challenging kids. You're exactly who you're meant to be. You're the exact right parent for your kid. You're the perfect teacher for your kiddo. And you've got this. Go to the show notes for this episode. Check them out. Reread it. Re-listen to the episode. Click on the links. Click around. Come up with a bunch of strategies that can help you out. And reach out if you need more support. But remember, this is growing. This is helping you and your kids grow to have more and more autonomy and help each other become better versions of yourselves. If this resonates, or if you feel you need more support, we would love for you to join us in the Learners Lab. Not only is there a section for kids with classes and meetings like I've talked about before, but there's a whole section devoted to parents and group coaching. So you can get the support you need as a parent, as well as some resources for your kiddos. I'd love for you to check it out. We have office hours, prompts that you can use, and you don't have to figure this all out on your own. There are people here for you. We're going to continue this series. Next week, we're going to talk about demands and anxiety and buy-in, along with movement, choice, and tiny finishes. And we're going to talk about it in relation to like test anxiety, test preparedness, and stuff like that. So it's a good episode that's going to resonate with a lot of you and give you some practical strategies for building in some of those things so that your kids can have more success when they're working through maybe testing or performance anxiety in any way. As always, I want to give another thanks and shout out to CTC Math. They're so supportive, and they are what keeps this podcast going. Not only that, I am a real life customer who pays for my subscription and has used it with all of my children at one point or another. And my 2 kids who are still homeschooling are using it right now. So check them out at CTC Math. Let them know I sent you. Check out Curiosity Post if your kids are looking for something to get excited about in the mail, physical activities and things that they can do and look forward to every single month. The cutoffs for each month's mailing happens on the 15th of the month to give me enough time to order the amount of materials that I need, because like I said, they're all physical and created by me. So I need to make sure that I can get them ordered in time. All mailings go out on the last Monday of the month. So if you subscribe before the 15th of the month, you will get the current month's subscription, the current month's envelope, when it goes out that last week of the month. If you subscribe after the 15th of the month, then you'll get the following month's mailing. You'll always get the number of mailings you sign up for. So even if there is a second charge, the way that the subscription works before you get your first month's, whenever you cancel the membership or the subscription, you'll get one more at the end of that, if that makes sense. So you'll get every single issue that you've paid for. We just need to cut it off because we need to order the physical supplies. So just so you know, if you subscribe before the 15th of the month, you get the current month's. You start with the current month's. If you subscribe after the 15th of the month, you start with the next month's mailing. So super exciting. It's been so fun to create. I love everything. In fact, I think I've said this before, but my college daughter, when she was home for break and saw me working on the very first month's activities, she asked if I would put her on the mailing list. She is actually my 57th mailing. So we have 56 families from all around the country, including one international, and then her at college. She'll be getting Curiosity Post at school. So check them out. Check that out over on my website and in the shop. And I'll be back same time, same place next week with another episode. And I will talk to you then. Bye for now. Have a great week.